Did you leave the house with your brother Cody looking like that? Or did you leave the house with your father looking like that? Or your mother? Is that how you left your family?
No. Nobody else went into that house.
Who left your family like this? If you were the one that's been depressed, you were the one that owes money, you were the one that got into a confrontation with your father, who did this to your family? If you were trying to defend yourself or something else happened, we need to know now to help you. So tell us what happened, Grant. We're here to listen to you.
Grant, you need the truth. We're here to make this right. You gotta tell the truth. It's on the tip of your tongue, my man. I get that.
Did your father go after you and you try to protect yourself?
No, I didn't do any of this.
There's something that's going to come up that is going to make this all come real. I'd rather it come from you than have to do it that way.
The evidence tells us what happened. You have to fill in the blanks. They can't tell me what happened.
Fact, I know. She never held a gun. She didn't have a gun that night. Fact, he never fired a gun. Fact, he never fired a gun. Never did. This is the person right here, Mom, who always stuck up for you. Something happened so bad that caused her death, your dad's death, and Cody. And I'll tell you just about how it happened. 1, 2, 3. Based on evidence. Based on evidence. I know he did not shoot your mom. I know he didn't shoot your dad. I know he didn't shoot himself. And I know from video surveillance camera in the neighborhood, nobody else came to that house. I know. I can account for everybody that went to the house. I know.
So tell us what happened.
I know it. Listen to me, hey. I know. Video surveillance tells me everything that happened this night. I'm telling you. People that you'd be surprised who in your neighborhood has video.
Grant Amato was born on May 20th, 1989 in Chuliota, Florida, to Chad and Margaret Amato. Chad was a former clinical pharmacist and Margaret was a senior operations manager. Grant was raised in Chuliota along with his brother Cody, with whom he was very close, while the elder son Jason, whom Margaret had through her first marriage and Chad later adopted as his own, he lived elsewhere. Grant went to Timber Creek High School along with Cody, and they both joined a weightlifting team together after getting interested in health and wellness. Both Cody and Grant even attended the University of Central Florida, where they attended nursing school together and then proceeded into anesthesiology school. Cody graduated from his anesthesiology program while Grant dropped out, and he was able to find work at the hospital Advent Health Orlando as a nurse. Grant was suspended from his job in June 2018 under suspicion of stealing and improperly administering medication to patients and for suicidal thought. Although officers denied the allegations that he was suicidal, saying he didn't meet the criteria to be a danger to himself or others around him, they concluded there was evidence to the claim of improper medicine administration. Hospital staff had beforehand found 8 empty vials of the sedative propofol in 2 rooms that Grant had been overseeing, which hadn't been ordered by any doctors. When confronted during his suspension, he said that he had administered the drug to patients who were not being adequately relaxed. The hospital then fired and subsequently arrested him for grand larceny after the investigation concluded, but the charges were later dropped. On the morning of January 25th, 2019, authorities were sent to a Chuliota, Florida home for a welfare check. As stated by the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, they were contacted by 31-year-old Cody Amato's co-worker when he failed to report to work and could not be reached. According to the co-worker, Cody had never missed a day of work since he was hired by Advent hospital east window. When authorities arrived on scene, they initially knocked on the front door. However, as nobody responded, the deputies began walking around the perimeter of the home, knocking on all of the windows and doors. When nobody responded to the knocking, they had to open the windows and doors. They were all locked. Authorities noted there was a car in the driveway and 2 others in the garage, which indicated someone should be inside the house. Therefore, according to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Moderson used a knife to bypass the deadbolt on the front door so he and his colleagues could enter the home. Once inside, they made a gruesome discovery. As reported by the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, the deputies found a white male who was later identified as 59-year-old Chad Amato, laying on his back on the kitchen floor. Authorities noted Chad was surrounded by a pool of blood and was determined to be deceased. As they continued their search of the home, deputies found Chad's son, 31-year-old Cody Amato, laying in a fetal position on the floor of a storage room with blood seeping from his eyes. 61-year-old Margaret Amato, Chad's wife, was found in her office, seated in a chair with her upper body slumped on the desk and covered in blood. Both Cody and Margaret were also declared dead. Authorities said they knew the family as they had been called to the residence on at least one other occasion, and noted Chad and Margaret's other son, 29-year-old Grant, was absent from the scene. They also determined his vehicle was not in the driveway or the garage. Margaret Amato, she was known for 2 things: loving her family and having a soft spot in her heart for horses that were being neglected. Around 2009, Margaret rescued a brown-coated former racehorse named Lady after the hungry mare kept wandering into her rural Seminole County yard. Nearly every day, Amato rode her bike from her Sultan Circle home to the nearby Miracle Lane stables, where she boarded the horse and worked tirelessly to rehabilitate. Margaret was bucked several times while training Lady, said her neighbor Jewel Teben, but remained unwavering in her commitment to get back in the saddle. Teben would say, "Some of us would shake our head, but Margaret never gave up on Lady, and it blossomed into a wonderful relationship because Margaret never gave up." Even after Lady died, Margaret regularly returned to the Miracle Lane stables to brush, train, and to be around the other horses. According to barn owner Sherry Brabenek, one day in January, she mentioned to Brabenek's husband that the past few months had been some of the most difficult of her life. She said her youngest son, Grant, had stolen a lot of money. Days later, Margaret Amato was found dead, slumped over her desk in her home office, where her husband, Chad Amato, and her middle son, Cody Amato, had also been killed. All 3 were shot in the head. In the hours after discovering Chad, Margaret, and Cody dead, authorities issued a "be on the lookout" for Grant Amato and his vehicle. They also began interviewing friends of the Amato family, and according to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Cody's girlfriend, Sloan Young, said Cody and Grant had several disagreements in recent weeks. Young said Grant had ongoing mental health issues and had recently stolen $60,000 and several guns from his brother. Young also revealed Grant had been admitted to a mental health facility. In the months prior to the murders, Grant had been expelled from school, where he was pursuing a certification to become a nurse anesthetist. He also lost his job when he was caught stealing prescription medications and remained unemployed. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office eventually learned Grant had developed feelings for a Bulgarian woman whom he met through a website specializing in pornographic material. Authorities estimate Grant stole $200,000 from his family to log into the website and chat with the woman. On January 26, 2019, authorities located Grant Amato's vehicle in the parking lot of the Doubletree Hilton Hotel in Orlando, Florida. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office also verified Grant was a registered guest of the hotel. Later that same afternoon, a deputy approached Grant at the hotel, and the suspect agreed to accompany him to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office for questioning. During questioning, Grant said his parents learned about his communications with the Bulgarian woman and had prohibited him from sending her money or continuing to talk to her. Although he initially agreed, Grant said he decided to continue speaking with her as they were in a relationship. When his dad, Chad, learned that Grant was still in contact with the woman and was stealing money to send to her, Chad told Grant to move out. As a result, Grant and his father got into a verbal altercation that began to turn physical. According to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Grant said he eventually left the house. However, he insisted he did not physically harm or kill anyone before he left. Grant Amato was ultimately determined to be solely responsible for the deaths of both his parents and his brother. He was subsequently arrested and charged with 3 counts of first-degree premeditated murder. Grant, to this day, has maintained his innocence. His defense team argued that authorities had tunnel vision and failed to question or investigate any other suspects in the murders. However, prosecutors insisted Grant shot and killed his family because they did not support his relationship with the Bulgarian woman. Grant sent a letter to several of his friends, outlined how deeply he had descended into his fantasy life. According to the Virginia Pilot, the letter addressed several things he told his friends that were simply not true. In the letter, Grant apologized for deceiving them about his lifestyle. He said he was sorry for telling everyone he was a professional gamer who drove a BMW and owned his own home. In reality, he was unemployed, drove a Honda Accord, and lived with his parents. The Virginian Pilot reports Grant also expressed his anger toward the parents in the letter and stated that they had forced him to enter a rehabilitation facility to address his internet and sex addiction. The killings, prosecutors claim, were the culmination of a downward spiral of their son, Grant Amato. He was arrested at his nursing job, accused of stealing medication, leading to a depressive episode that left him isolated. He developed an infatuation for the webcam model from Bulgaria he met on an adult website and stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from his father and brother to present himself as rich and successful. He then ignored his father's ultimatum to stop speaking with the woman, leading to a confrontation. Hundreds of pages of records and hours of recorded interviews released by the Seminole Brevard State Attorney's Office since the killings show the depth of Grant Amato's obsession with the model and the lengths his family took to shield and support him, forgiving the theft, protecting him from legal consequences, and trying to get him help. He stole so much money from them, they could have had him arrested. He would have been convicted. For hours, he talked nonchalantly with investigators Daniel Anderson and Eva Marie Moltari about his life, hobbies, and the issues the family had been dealing with for the past several months. 3 hours in, he hadn't once asked what had happened to his family. That's when Moltari opened a folder with crime scene photos. She placed a picture of Cody's body in front of Amato. "Did you leave the house with your brother Cody looking like that?" Amato covered his face. Moltari pulled out 2 more photos. "Or did you leave the house with your father looking like that? Or your mother? Is that how you left your family?" "No," Amato said, his voice breaking. "Who did this to your family?" Moltari asked. Amato looked at the photo of his mother at the top of the stack, then covered part of his face again. "No, I didn't do any of this." He claimed his family was alive the last time he saw them. The detectives told him Cody and Chad Amato could not have shot each other. They asked who else could have killed his family. Grant Amato said, "I don't know. I've been getting blamed for the last half a year for everything, and I've been trying to move forward into a positive direction. And then every day I'm reminded of all the trouble that I had caused, and then I keep being told the same thing over and over again, that there's nothing I can do to change it." In the interview room, Amato spoke briefly with his sole surviving brother Jason, who did not live in the family home. Grant Amato again denied killing his family.
Alright, so I take it you know what happened.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you plain out. You are not part of it anyway.
No.
When's the last time you saw everybody?
I left the house between midnight and 12:30.
On Thursday night? So Friday morning?
I go into the front.
Why? That's when you went to a hotel?
No. The first night I stayed just in the Publix parking lot by the Tractor Supply.
Okay.
And
Why did you leave though?
it's because Dad had kicked me out Thursday because I was still talking to the woman that had caused everything, and I was using Mom's cell phone to do that with her knowledge, but not Cody or Dad's. So then Dad found out somehow, and that was one of the things that he had said would lead to my being removed from the premises.
So he forced you, he basically told you had to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. So who could have done this?
I don't.
So you didn't have any problems or troubles with this woman or the online? You didn't owe
No.
them any money?
No.
I mean, there's no
No.
like loan shark out looking for you or...
No.
I just don't see how things aren't adding up. I'm really confused, Grant. I don't understand. How did you get money to pay for a hotel?
I still had a few $100s on my debit card, and
What?
then Cody gave me his debit card.
Okay. And I don't know. I want to believe you, Grant, but you're the last person that I could put in that house. And I know what happened over the last 6 months. I can understand the troubles that you've gone through, but it's hard for me to think that you would break to this point.
Mm-hmm.
But who else can I blame? How are we going to find out who did this?
I don't know. I don't have the answers.
So what are your intentions? Do you understand what we have to do now? If you're not the person that did it, we have months of stuff that we have to take care of from our dead parents. Months. You know how much stuff is in that house? We have to go through it all. I have to call people in California to let them know that Margaret Amato is not alive anymore. I gotta call at 3 o'clock in the morning because Cody's 30 years old and has perfectly good organs to donate. And I can't call that shot. He's not an organ donor. I had to say no. So that means there's someone out there that could have used his organs, but we weren't prepared for this. I love you more than anything in this world, just like I loved Cody, Grant, and Dad. I know Dad was an asshole. I know Cody was an asshole. But they were our family, and they would have never done anything to hurt us.
Mm-hmm.
The shit you did, you could have been in jail. You would have been in jail for years.
I know.
And they covered it up for you. I have a feeling the FBI is already involved because no matter how much Dad can overcome the money laundering, that's money that was moved. Just because they gave it to you as a gift, you can't just claim gifts as income. The FBI wants to know what the fuck is money being moved in that amount. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. And I probably will have resentment for the rest of my life whether you did it or you didn't do it, but I need closure. I need to know what happened to my mother, my father, and my brother Cody. Because I wasn't there to fucking help. And that hurts me. That hurts me a lot, man. I may not have been able to stop you. You probably may have hurt me too. But at least I would have known what happened. And now I'm in fucking who knows what now. I am lost. And it scares me that you want to leave here and not face what happened. Because you're putting my life at risk then. You're putting Donna's life at risk, Grandma's life. How do we know what you're going to do? What happened on the job interview last Friday?
It all sounded good. It sounded like everything was moving forward. And then I was supposed to hear something on Tuesday or Thursday of this coming week.
And nothing?
It was just on Friday.
It was last Friday, so it's been a little over a week.
No, it was just this Friday.
That's not possible. Friday was yesterday.
Yeah.
So you're telling me you had a job interview yesterday, but you got kicked out Thursday night?
Right. I had to get my suit and everything and put it into the car.
Okay. Where was your job interview?
It was over on Lee Vista with something scripts.
So, I mean, so they'd be able to verify that you were there for an interview? I don't know. I'm going to feel really bad.
I mean, this is just... I understand. I mean, I really do. I understand all your thoughts and what you're thinking and everything, and this is just... you know, I know what I did to everybody over the months and everything like that.
I know you did.
And I know that you know the hell of dealing with it every single day when you're trying to move forward.
Yep.
Dad, Cody, and all that stuff.
Yep, and I understand it was probably harder for you because you lived in the house. I had the option of getting out, which gave me the ability to not have to deal with it on a daily basis. I understand the mental struggles you went through with Cody and Dad's relationship, you and Dad's relationship, everybody's relationship in the family. You know how smart everybody is in the family when it comes to medical information. And that's what scares me even more about you. If you didn't do it, then you have to know that someone else did it. There is no way that there were people out there looking for our parents or brother. They had to have been looking for you. There's no way that Mom, Dad, or Cody owed anybody money, had anybody looking for them because of something that they did.
No, I don't think that it's some money shark or monger or somebody like that.
Right, because nothing was stolen from the house.
Right.
So, like, people that are looking to compensate for financial obligations would have taken TVs, computers, jewelry, monetarily things.
Right.
From what I've been advised, that is not the situation. So that leaves that the people were murdered for the reason that they were in the way of getting to something else.
I don't understand why. I don't understand why it happened. I was taking my steps forward despite everything that I was supposed to do, that I was supposed to be doing. The slip-up was still communicating with the woman, but...
What were you allowed to take when Dad kicked you out? Obviously your car.
Basically my possessions, my cell phone, my iPad, my Surface, some clothes.
Weapons?
I don't have any weapons.
So there's going to be no weapons in the hotel that you were at last night? No weapons in the car?
No.
No weapons buried on the property?
No. I sold all my weapons when I was trying to make money.
I remember my mom telling me that. What about, I don't know what else to say, but I'm scared for you and I'm scared for myself, and I don't feel comfortable with you being around me alone. I'm sorry. I could take you physically, but if you have a knife or know where a gun is, I'm fucked. And I have little girls that I have to raise. I have a woman that is depending on me for the rest of my life.
I understand.
Even if you did, it's gonna be so hard for me to figure out what to do with you. You do not deserve jail. But I can't come to fucking have attorney press charges for you to be killed. Grant, I need you to be honest with me, man. I need to have closure. And if it doesn't come from your mouth and I have to hear it from an attorney or a law enforcement or the news, it's going to be harder for me. And I know if you can take Mom and Dad and Cody's life, it's hard for you to comprehend that my emotions are going to be that, but it's unbelievably scary, Grant. And I don't believe in God. I don't have a strong religious belief, but I will pray that this is solved justifiably, because it was not fair that Mom, Cody, and Dad's life were taken. They did not deserve it, no matter what feelings were felt by anybody. They were good people.
And they showed it by protecting me all the time.
But Dad kicked you out.
That's because I still broke the rule, and that it was apparently Dad's job to be the hammer person, or whatever he would describe it as.
Right, I was told that you would not have access to be able to contact this woman. Why do you feel the intent to still contact her?
It was just the whole emotional thing. I mean, that's all
Okay,
that I can say.
so are you saying that you love the woman?
I feel like I did, yeah.
Okay, you feel like you did, so you don't feel that way now?
Well, I mean, now it's pretty much, I mean, it's not what it used to be, is all I can say.
Because she's aware of what has happened in the last several months.
Right.
So why do you feel the need to still contact her?
I don't know, I mean, I don't know, apart from just like that feeling when you care for somebody, you've been with them for however many months.
Yo, I know that feeling.
So, I mean, I was just, I knew
Looking for closure?
To some degree, yeah, and I knew that I could never do any of the money stuff anymore.
Okay.
So I guess that was like...
It hurt, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because you can't carry that persona that you carried before. But the crazy part is, you're still the same person. You are still Grant Amato that I grew up with for 17 years, that I played with, that we hid shit from Dad so that we didn't get in trouble. Who covered those grenades? Mom.
Right.
I don't feel like we're getting anywhere, and I'm going to be honest, I don't feel comfortable with you staying with me. I mean, if in a week or a couple days or 12 hours and something else is discovered, then I might have a change of heart, but I have no other options in my head of what's going on, especially if you're confirming that there's nobody looking for you. And if you're saying that you ran away or stayed in a hotel because you were forced to, or you were told you couldn't stay there, I don't live there, so I have no proof. The only people that live there are dead, so they can't say anything. But the morgue called me this morning, so I have to make decisions for Mom, Cody, and Grant and Dad in the next couple days. So just letting you know that I'll be making those decisions, because until I'm given verifiable information that you did not do it, I don't think you have the right to make that decision. You already made the decision on whether or not they can live or not. That's not your job.
His brother Jason Amato says, I'm going to pray for you, brother, because I can't pray for mom, dad, or Cody anymore. Grant Amato said he and Cody were inseparable. They joined the Timber Creek High School weightlifting team together, decided to go to nursing school, and eventually to nurse anesthetist school together. The brothers planned on buying matching BMWs and living in their parents' home after Chad and Margaret Amato moved to a retirement home they'd bought in Tennessee. Amato said he'd take care of everything for me, but stress in the family started to build in June 2018. Grant Amato, who had failed out of anesthesiology school, was suspended from his nursing job at Advent Health Orlando and arrested after he was accused of stealing and improperly administering medication to a patient. Jobless, Amato began spending more time online, gaming, and live streaming. He soon met a webcam model named Sylvie from Bulgaria. Amato told detectives he used his father's and brother's money to pay to speak with the woman. He told his family he was spending the money to promote himself on Twitch, a popular live streaming website. Amato spent about 4 hours every night watching Sylvie dance and model. He purchased 5,000 tokens at a time for $600. Her shows cost 90 tokens per minute to view. Eventually, he began sending Sylvie clothes and sex toys, which she would model for viewers. He admitted to stealing about $200,000 from his family and conceded he may have made a mistake. During the interview with detective, he tells them spending that amount of money is idiotic, especially when you're not making it. By the beginning of December 2018, Grant Amato's situation seemed to be improving. The grand theft charge stemming from the hospital incident had been dropped, and he, Cody Amato, and a friend took a long planned trip to Japan. But when he returned December 15th, Grant Amato said his dad was overbearing, still upset about the theft, and that Grant hadn't found a job. Amato tells the detectives with him it was every single day, hours a day. He'd come home from work and then he would just talk to me about the same exact thing over and over and over again. After one argument with his father on December 19th, Amato walked out of the house. His family reported him missing, telling deputies he had been experiencing strong feelings of worthlessness. Margaret Amato, she said she got a text from Grant saying he was really tired of everything and just going to handle it his own way. Amato had gone to the Apopka home of his aunt, Donna Amato, who described Grant as skinny and lost looking, saying he slept during the day and stayed up all night. His aunt, Donna, she said she started noticing strange charges in her bank account and thought she had been hacked, but she'd later discovered Grant Amato had stolen her credit card information. Pictures of credit cards belonging to Grant Amato's grandmother, Gloria Amato, Uncle Troy Amato, and one of his cousins were found on his computer after the killing. His Aunt Donna said she received calls from the rest of the family who urged her not to press charges. Cody Amato promised to pay back any of his brother's fraudulent expenses. Grant's dad, Chad, broke down during his phone call with his sister-in-law. This was the first time Donna Amato said she had heard him cry in the 27 years she knew him. He said he had personally taken care of $150,000 worth of debt by remortgaging his house. Donna says, he told me on the phone, yeah, I'm going to have to work a few more years than I thought I'd have to. But it's okay. I'll do it for Grant. I don't want him to go to jail. Amato's family took shifts outside Donna Amato's home to prevent Grant from escaping. Early on December 22nd, they surprised him in her driveway and drove him to a voluntary rehab clinic in South Florida. After he returned January 5th, Amato's father sat him down at the California Pizza Kitchen in Waterford Lake and presented him with a list of handwritten rules if he wanted to remain in the home. By this point, Grant's brother Cody had paid $8,000 for Amato's attorney, $10,000 for the trip to Japan, and had committed to paying for Grant's $15,000 rehab stay. Chad Amato had let a fraudulent line of credit filed by Grant go through so it wouldn't be reported. Among the rules, Grant was to get a job during the day and stop spending the entire night online. His phone service would be terminated and he needed to go to therapy. His family would no longer pay for his debt. This is critical as Grant, through his past transgressions, had relied on the knowledge the family would not report him and would cover him. Family relationship abuse beyond tolerance. This is a promise. You better heed the warning. It's real. This was the note written on the sheet of rules that were said. If Grant Amato reached out to Sylvia again, he would be kicked out of the home. The second to last line of the rules had been scratched out. You chose a stranger, physically non-existent, over family, referring to Sylvia, the woman he had never even met. Despite the ultimatum, Amato continued speaking with Sylvie. He told detective using his mother's phone with her permission to message her on Twitter. Chad Amato found out January 24, 2019. Amato said he claimed his father grabbed him by the shirt, told him to pack up his things and leave. Initially, Amato told detectives it took a few hours for him to pack up his things. He claimed he left about 9:30 p.m. and met Cody Amato outside the neighborhood to tell him what had happened. But Amato later admitted he lied. He left closer to midnight and his brother was home. He claimed he spent the night in the parking lot of a nearby Publix before driving to a job interview off Lee Vista Road. In Grant Amato's car, a crime scene analyst found a handwritten note that appeared to have been written from Cody Amato's perspective. Grant, I'll take care of all your problems. I just need you back. I can't live without you, brother. Said I'd take care of all your problems at the house and I have. No one will bother you again regarding this. Just please come home. Grant Amato admitted to a detective that he had written the letter, saying he was jotting down his recollection of the last conversation he had with his brother. He couldn't explain why it was written in the first person from Cody's point of view. Grant Amato's relatives told detectives they couldn't understand why he would have killed his brother. Cody would have spent his last dollar to save him, Donna Amato, the aunt, told investigators. However, authorities have suggested they suspect Grant Amato sought to implicate his brother in the killings, something Sheriff spokesman Bob Keeling called a reasonable assumption. Two of Amato's friends also accused him of lying during a recent hearing in order to shift the focus from himself and onto Cody Amato. Their grandmother, Gloria Amato, laid out her opinion bluntly. That kid did it, she said. Grant killed them. Get rid of these people. I will be free. Margaret Amato's death has left a void in her horse family. One friend, Jackie Seraphin, said she rode by the Amato home a few weeks after the killing. She looked toward the window of the office where Margaret Amato was found and waved goodbye one last time. Amato's neighbor, Jewel Teven, she said she had a strong sense of righteousness for those who couldn't do anything for themselves. When a good person leaves this earth too soon, you just have to question why. The world needs more good people. Sherry Brabenek, the owner of the Miracle Lane stable where Margaret spent much of her time, has a plaque that was made in her honor. To our barn sister Margaret and her lady, thank you for the love and friendship. We will ride with you in our hearts forever. She'll always be with us out here. She's part of our barn and always will be. At Grant Amato's trial, prosecutors alleged that he killed each of his family members, then staged the scene to make it look like a murder-suicide carried out by his brother Cody by placing a gun close to him. Chad Amato was also found wearing a gun in a holster on his right hip, but because of the way the holster was facing, Chad would have had to draw the gun with his left hand. The problem was, he was right-handed. 4 shell cases were also found at the crime scene. Investigators determined that neither gun in the home was used in the murders, and the shell cases weren't from bullets that killed the victims. The murder weapon was never found. Grant Amato has been found guilty and has been sentenced to life in prison. When asked if he feels remorse, Amato responded, "My family has been blaming me for months for ruining their lives, stealing and not following the rules of the home, so I might as well be blamed for this too." Rest in peace, Margaret. Rest in peace, Chad. Rest in peace, Cody. Thank you for joining me today, my friends. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments what you think about this crazy case. And thank you for joining me. Have an amazing day.